Ever wondered what it's like to work in the apparel and fashion industry in Chicago? How a designer started their brand? Or what a production workroom looks like? Then join us as we go for a visit. Today we're in Westtown visiting our neighbor Meilin Schneider at Digit Pattern Services.
Hello, my name is Meilin Schneider and I'm the owner of Digit Pattern Services. So at my core, I'm a maker and a problem solver, and I believe this career eventually found me. I had just discovered sewing before entering college, and I wanted to keep that door open for myself, despite the original plan of pursuing more liberal arts type courses. Eventually, I found myself at the School of the Art Institute of Chicago in the fashion design program, where I would eventually graduate. A pivotal moment for me, though, was realizing that there was something just off to the side from being a designer that was calling to me more. I ended up graduating early, just before my senior year thesis, and stuck around the department as an assistant to my college classmates. And there I learned that assisting with someone else's vision did finally click for me, and I immediately began applying for pattern making, sample making, and technical design positions as a result. As a project-based small business that services as many clients as we do, there is no typical day, but there is consistency by means of a company checklist that the team and I reference and communicate pinch points on. By keeping this type of communication open and consistent, together we bring cadence to the work week, which helps cut through the chaos. As a result, some weeks can be spent deep in pattern making, digitizing, and sample cutting, while others are spent coordinating production pickups, drop-offs, and making sure everyone has materials on time. They need to do this to keep the machine that we built running smoothly. Whatever we do in the day is always in service of keeping clients' orders timely and everyone in-house and out-of-house informed. Lightheartedly, we have a few unofficial office rules that have become rituals. If I leave for a coffee, I always ask to buy a coffee and donuts for the team, the result being I either start drinking less coffee or the whole team gets a pick-me-up, so it's a win-win. We do a Wordle at lunch. It tricks us all into taking the time to stop and actually eat lunch. We also like to criticize each other's poor lunch choices, mostly mine, and yell at each other to leave the office at 5 p.m. And I'm really lucky. I've landed myself amongst an amazing team who likes to trick each other into better mental health practices. These small rituals add just enough kindness and humor into every workday that keeps this machine running peacefully. Currently, I am a lead pattern maker, lead project manager, but also everyone's administrative assistant, customer service, account receivable and payable, and social media coordinator, arguably my least favorite hat. These are just what comes to mind at the moment. Work-life balance for me is enjoying what I do, the people I do it with, and having the company be stable enough where anyone can take a day off for whatever reason without guilt. For me as a small business owner, I personally know that I can't shut off my work brain 100%. There's just too many moving parts to truly stop. But what I can do is create a work system that builds more flexibility and forgiveness into my work life. And currently I'm doing this by managing customer and company expectations through consistent and brief updates. Digit Pattern Services is a Chicago local pre-production and micro-batch production company. Designers bring us their designs and we take them through all steps of what happens next. Pattern making, digitizing, grading, sampling, marker making, plotting, and even small batch production from 50 to 600 pieces. Digit was founded in 2018. I started as just myself in a windowless storage unit servicing just the Chicagoland area. Now we are a team of about 5+ contractors in our respective fields, servicing clients in the Midwest and on both coasts. And we also have windows. I can't say I'm much of a business visionary, and I've just been solving one problem at a time since 2018. The deliverables and company mission haven't changed much since our founding, which I find very interesting. I believe our next step, though, would be to strengthen our focus by clearly defining our procedures so we can cut down on turnaround times for pre-production while maintaining the same level of control. We've moved spaces, added spaces, and divided spaces at least 4 to 5 times in the last 2 years. This all comes from trial and error and allowing the business to grow naturally to meet client demands. I don't suspect this is the final form, but I'm pretty happy with it currently. This room houses all pre-production and post-production. This includes all pattern work and production planning / coordination, as well as quality control, shipping, and receiving. It is also our client-facing space for introductory meetings, check-ins, pickups, and drop-offs. Production is located upstairs and is not currently customer-facing. We've learned our lesson the hard way. The production room needs to be an incredibly calm atmosphere, as it typically is a high-stress environment. It's a room where messes can occur without worrying or about needing to clean before the next client arrives. Clients and production don't mix. Sorry, everyone. So in terms of sustainability, we strive for sustainability through the mindful use of materials. Part of this is calculating yields so we know how much to order before a production run. We encourage clients to be flexible with their cut numbers and colorways to make the best use of energy put into a production run. We also have the flexibility to work with the dead stock and remnants of prior production orders. All in all, we try to recycle patterns, ideas, materials as often as possible to ensure we're not leaving more behind than we use. I absolutely feel connected to the industry in Chicago. Chicago fashion is a welcoming and intelligent community. We are not afraid to share our connections, our sources, wherever we've struggled in whenever I've struggled in an aspect of my business, there's not been a lack of mentors I can refer to. I can see myself approaching anyone with the simplest of questions. So I would like to see more outlets for our clients to graduate into. Once they left production, it would be great if there were resources or at least an actual physical location that they could kind of congregate in. This is unknown territory for myself as well because I'm a manufacturer. The question I want answered is, where do I take my product now that I've made it? I believe the city could promote more community-driven events that showcase our local talent, that they could sponsor more spaces that could be hubs for new designers. And not just in the summer, but like all year round. We should also fund and refund the Fashion Council. So a big part of the challenge of being in the Midwest is that our fashion resources are just not as established as the coast, or if they were at one point, they're not existing in the same capacity anymore. Even as a student in Chicago, there's a noticeable assumption that you can only make it in fashion if you moved. I believe the greatest challenge to our industry is letting people know that we are here, that we are developing fashion line. Well, when developing a fashion line, it can happen in the Midwest, and we all need to pull together to make that happen. So another challenge when starting a line is that the cost of entry can be really high. Personally, from what I've experienced working with a bunch of designers, is that you really want to maximize your initial investment as far as it can go. There's a lot of upfront costs in developing a pattern. I would say you've started your company, you've produced your first collection or line. You're probably not going to make money on that particular line, but you can reinvest some of that initial startup fund into your second line. Use what you've learned, use that same pattern again, make tweaks to it, keep it essential. Don't try to reinvent the wheel every time. So it's a never-ending goal of mine to strengthen the frameworks and procedures of this company and to create a system that is flexible enough to accommodate the individual and unique needs of emerging designers, yet consistent enough to instill confidence every step of the way. There are already so many variables that go into starting an apparel line that adding the stress of forming a business around that apparel line can be overwhelming. My advice to aspiring professionals would be play to your strengths and acknowledge your weaknesses. Outsource what you can so it doesn't occupy more mental real estate than it should. And definitely carve out time to allow yourself to exercise your strengths and progress them further. And then most importantly, keep yourself open to the advice and experiences of others. So the most important lesson I've learned from the industry is that you can't fixate on perfection. When perfection is your goal, you run the risk of losing your momentum. Keep the bullet points of your mission, put out the product, be open to criticism, and find your market. All of these items are flexible. You can assume what you would like, but that doesn't mean your return is going to be what you expected. We put a lot of, we learn a lot through feedback, so don't get hung up on development before anyone gets a chance to experience what you've actually made. So I would say that everything is exciting that we're working on right now. We are open for new clients. The team has never been stronger, and everything's looking bright.